Welcome to the You Can Be Unstoppable podcast. My name is Ewelina Szczeblewska, your host and certified hypnotherapist. In this podcast, I will share with you how to tap into the power of your subconscious mind. I intend to share with you how learning how to use the power of your subconscious mind can help you to create a successful and abundant life with ease, how to connect with yourself while fostering a healthy relationship with your body and mind. Tapping into the power of the subconscious mind will help you to learn how to manage your emotions, become more resilient and present in all of your relationships. Self-love and self-worth are the keys to the kingdom of success and abundance, to happy and healthy life on your terms. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode. And today's guest is Missy. I almost misspelled your name. We just talked about this. Is Missy. She's an energy healer and transformational guide. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to talk today.
And I'm really excited about having you as a guest as well, because I don't think I had an energy healer. Actually, no, I'm lying. I did have. She does emotion coach. So I did have energy healer before on my podcast. So scrap that. But I want to know more about you. What happened and how it came about that you got into an energy healer? Because you just said to me before we hopped on that you were quite a practical person, kind of down to earth. So I'm curious about your story.
Yeah, so I work as an energy healer, and that is not anything that I ever thought that I would do. In fact, I grew up with a very practical background, and I never went to energy healers. I never even heard about it. I didn't even actually know it was a thing. So it wasn't something that I aspired to. But basically, I've always wanted to work in motion picture and television. So really what my career was for a long time. And then one day at work, a director came to me and he said, "Okay, Missy, it's time for you to move up. So I'm going to help you. Let's go." And all I could say was no. And that was so rude, right? I was like, oh, why did I say that? But it was obviously that internal belief that I wasn't on the right path. And I think I suspected that I know I suspected that for a long time. It's not that I didn't like it anymore, but I could tell there was something inside of me that wanted to do more. And I wanted to help people. And I was a little bit bored, I think. And so I knew something was sort of calling me. But when I said no, I kind of surprised myself. But it made me say, okay, if that's my no, then what's my yes? Because there has to be yes on the other side. So I recommitted to my meditation practice, and I meditated in the morning and at night. And I just asked myself, show me, well, I didn't ask myself, I asked the universe. I said, show me who I am, because I had heard that when you ask the universe a question, like by law, it has to answer you. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to find out the answer. And it took a long time. It took 4 months, but it did happen. I really, I heard a voice right here. That was kind of crazy because that had never happened to me before. But I heard an external voice right here in my ear, and it said, "You are a healer." And that was not the answer that I thought I was going to get. But that's what I love, how just, things don't always go the way that you think. And it took me a long time for me to accept that because it's so outside of my belief system. And I think I started, I knew I didn't want to be like, I thought a healer, is that like with blood or is that, a doctor or something, but that wasn't it for me. So I ended up listening to a podcast by an energy healer, and she seemed really like, quote, normal, like regular mom like me. And so I listened to her story, and that made me think, oh, energy healer. And through a series of events, she ended up gifting me the course because she had a course in energy healing. She gifted me that course, and she just said, I give it to you for free as long as you pay it forward. And so it opened a lot of doors. And then from that point on, I really never looked back. I just started working with clients from really that point on. And it's been sort of unfolding ever since.
Mm-hmm. And it's wonderful what you said, because I think so many of us are stuck in careers that we don't necessarily like and enjoy, but, pays the bills.
Mm.
We have to do something, but we don't give ourselves the time to slow down and do what you did. Go into silence, to meditation, and ask the universe or ourselves, the higher selves, call it as you want, for the guidance. What is that I actually want to do with my life? Because then we go into stuck energies, all those emotions that we do not process because they are uncomfortable. And unfortunately, we've got this habit of avoiding feeling really what is going on in our bodies because it's uncomfortable.
Yes. And I think those uncomfortable emotions and beliefs get trapped in our bodies. And then that is the part that keeps us stuck, because our emotions, our beliefs, our thoughts, they all have weight. Mm-hmm. And they found in very specific places inside our energy field. So in the body, in your aura. And those are the things that are not us. So it's the programming and the things that we learned along the way. And those are the things we start to believe about ourselves. And that's sort of my job, is to find and release those things, really, so that we can get back to who we really are. Mm-hmm. And I think that my thought is that the universe really just wants to express itself through us. Mm-hmm. So how does it want to come through us? That's why we were born with specific gifts and talents. Everybody was born with specific ones, and the universe just wants to express itself through us with our gifts, really in service to others. And so when we clear all that other stuff away, we can really feel what that is. And that's, I think, when we feel free, when we feel alive, that's when the doors open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so beautiful what you said, because I can see this through my clients. Obviously, I do different things than you do because I'm a hypnotherapist, but it's the same principle as finding the root cause of those stuck emotions, process them and let them go. And sometimes even during the session, they've got this huge release, and you can see immediate shift in the energy, in the body, in how they feel and look about themselves. It's like this enormous release.
Yes.
Because we got to the root cause.
Yes, and you're helping them release that part that isn't really them, is how I would look at it, right? It's the part
absolutely, yeah, because it's those beliefs that, they built, they acquired about themselves and how they see themselves in the world and about the world, and they lead their life based upon those beliefs. But when we release them, we let them go because, well, it's not them to start with, but they adopted them as theirs. Finally, they go back, okay, well, this is who I'm actually, who am I? And we also look into who do I want to be and who am I and what do I want to do? Because often people, when you ask them, so what do you want? It's like, I don't really know.
Yes. Yes. And I think a lot of times that's because we have beliefs. So, if we think about, so we have certain gifts and talents, but sometimes we're afraid of them because they're not appropriate, or, so I knew that I could see energy when I was really young. I could see my grandma after she died. And I saw, when I said that to my mom, I saw the look on her face and my auntie's face. Like, even though I was 3, I knew, oh, okay, don't do that. That's not a good thing. Right. Mm-hmm. So suppress our natural gifts and talents. But we were given those for a reason. And it might not be intuitive, some are intuitive gifts, but maybe you're an artist and your parents said that's not an acceptable, you'll never make money as an artist, right? So even though you have the gift to be an artist, you shut it down because of that belief, right? So same for everybody. I think we all just have to strip away all those beliefs so we can really use those gifts that we're born with.
And that's my problem with society, because there's so many people having those gifts, and whether that is being an artist, but you were born in a family of doctors, and the expectation is you have to become a doctor. So you do, but then you're not really happy in this career, but you're stuck in a system. You've got children, you've got mortgage, you've got things going on. You can't really leave this job. And even if you can, then it's like fear of judgment, what my family will think about if I'm going to leave all this time and energy that I put into qualifying as a doctor. Even though it's making me miserable, I hate it, I don't like it, I'd rather be an artist. It takes a lot of courage to be who you really are.
Yes, it does. I also think, though, that as you start dismantling and releasing these beliefs and emotions that are trapped in there, we sort of open a channel to be able, it's almost like doors open and the universe sort of helps us. It's like, oh, she's signaling to the universe that she wants to be an artist, not a doctor. So I think we're always in communication with the universe. And I mean, it's almost like a game, like it reacts and it responds to us. So to know, where are we going? What do we desire? What actions are we taking through our fears that can open more doors? So I always think of it as like energy clearing or releasing, and then also taking action, walking through that fear to the other side. It also creates momentum.
I'm wondering if you can talk more about how specifically an energy healing session with yourself can help us to remember who we are and strip down all those things, those energetic blocks.
Yeah. So, well, I'll use one of my clients as an example. So I have this amazing client named Dorothy, and she came to me and she knew that inside she knew who she was inside, but she actually wanted to release 100 pounds of weight because she carried extra weight for a long, long time. And she had tried all these different diets and things to release it, but really working with energy, we were able to find out why she was holding that extra weight or the extra energy. And it was really because we went back to her childhood. So in a session, we'll ask your body questions. So in Dorothy's case, I just asked her body, because your body is wise and it knows the answer to everything. So I just asked her body, why is Dorothy carrying extra weight? Right? You can ask a very simple question. And then the body starts showing me. So then it starts lighting up and I can see, where these beliefs are in the body, like specifically where in the body and what the exact emotion is or what the exact belief is and what age she was when she trapped them or started to believe them. And it, took a series of times, but what we really came down to was a very young child, like 5 and under. And she was put in all these boxes where she was really, there were a lot of expectations put on her as a child, and she had to fit a certain mold. So she had to get in there and just walk, in the certain mold. And so that was really the weight that she was carrying. She kept herself in a box. And so we released a bunch of different things, especially from that childhood age. And she was able to release 100 pounds of weight in the time that we worked together. It's not, and I want to be clear, it's not because of me. She did the work. We did the work together. I just held the space for that transformation. But it was amazing. So that's just an example of how we work together.
And I like what you said. It's a teamwork. It goes both ways. And the same goes for hypnotherapy. Clients have to work with me, because if they're going to work against me or not do the things that I'm asking them to do, they're not going to get the results they could have.
Yes. And I think there's a willingness, right? When you want to make a change, they'll see you, right? And when you want to make that change, that's really what it takes, like an openness and a willingness to make a change and to be open to possibilities that things could be different.
Absolutely. And I always say to my clients that everything starts from a thought. So if you don't like where you are, start paying attention to where you keep, your thinking. Where is your attention on? Is your thoughts being very negative, or you're always critical of yourself? Or do you see the possibility and being open to positive outcomes? And I think that is huge. And that again, go back to the beliefs that we've got.
Yes. And one thing that reminds me of what you were saying is whenever we feel discomfort or pain in our lives, it's always really helpful. I don't know who said this, but this is so helpful. Whenever you feel pain or discomfort, if you ask yourself, what lie am I believing about myself, others, or the world around me that's causing me this pain? And whenever we're feeling pain or discomfort, it's because there's a false belief in there. There's something in our line of thinking that is not necessarily true, and we need to question it. So starting to ask the questions and unravel what in there is false, what is not actually true in there, that helps things sort of fall away.
I like that. I really do like that. That's really good. Can you tell me more about, is the connection to ancestral beliefs? So in terms of energetic footprint from our past, can they affect us?
Wait, I'm sorry, can you ask me again?
Ancestral beliefs, from past lives, can they affect us?
Yes, definitely. So I worked with, they definitely can, because basically in the same way we get our eye color, our hair color from our parents and our ancestors, we also can inherit their emotions or their beliefs or their fears. So I was working with somebody and he kept having crazy things happen to him where his house got broken into, and he was sort of like a victim, and we always look for energetic patterns. So whenever I hear something like that, we look for a pattern, like when did this pattern first start where you felt like you're being a victim? And he wasn't doing something to create. There was an energetic pattern, and we couldn't find anything in his core life, the life today, that would create that pattern. And so I asked his body, where did this pattern start? A victim. And so we went back, and I didn't know anything about him. We went back to his grandparents, and his grandparents were actually, they were in the Holocaust, and they were victims. And I do actually work with a number of people whose parents or grandparents were in the Holocaust. And we could look and we could see how that pattern traced down and came into his own body to be repeated. So we just need to release that pattern and everything that holds that pattern. So where's that pattern in his body? Why is it putting energy out to bring it in? So the trapped emotions of his grandparents and their beliefs and their fears about safety and things. So we release all of that. So it's always fascinating to find these connections to our ancestors. And then often I'll see their ancestors come into the session, because when we release for you, say we release for you in a session, we're also holding the intention to release for the ancestor who originated that belief or emotion, and then the whole line down through you and even your children.
Right. Well, I find this fascinating because the energy healing world is still a bit new to me, and obviously this is not my area of expertise. I release emotions in a different way.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a healing session with yourself or any energy healer, emotion code or body code? Because I know there are two different things, if I'm having this right.
Yeah.
Can a session help us to raise our vibrations and ultimately helps us to create, to manifest what we intend in our life and our business?
Yes, absolutely. Because every emotion has a certain weight, we could say. So if we think about the emotion of depression or shame, that's a very heavy emotion. And if we think about the energy of, say, joy, right, that's sort of at the top, love and joy, it's like a lighter emotion. The more we clear out these heavier emotions in our field, we are naturally lighter. And then another way that I think of it is if we want to manifest something in particular, like say we want to manifest this beautiful house, say. I always think of it as we're driving a car. And so we have one foot on the gas. That's like, oh, I want to manifest this beautiful house. But often we have one foot on a hidden brake. And that's the energy of those thoughts and beliefs and emotions that are preventing us, like working at odds with us toward our goal or our manifestation. So we want to clear off that brake. So and often that's the part we can't see, right? So we need to go in and ask your body, oh, what is stopping me from finding that house or having that beautiful home? There's a reason why. And that's the part we want to clear. And then our car, or we can go forward, we can move and create our manifestation. So we just need to clear whatever's blocking that manifestation.
Is this something that listeners can do by themselves at home in terms of practice, silence, meditation? Is this something that you would say, I advise my clients to do that?
Yes. So to release, so it's 3 things. So we can release energy in an energy healing session, or you're actually releasing energy, right, in your sessions, even if you call it something else. Breath work, we're releasing energy. When we talk to a friend, we're releasing energy. We're getting it out of the body, or in talk therapy or journaling. It's all getting it out of the body and in an energy healing session. So I would advise anybody who wants to release energy on their own, they don't have to come see an energy healer. They can do it in one of those ways. And then the next step is you want to refine. So that's where journaling is super important, because after you release, other things come up, and it's like layers of an onion, right? So you might release that first layer and then you integrate, and then the next layer comes up to be released. And so when we refine, like journaling about the next thing that's coming up, we kind of can figure out what to clear next, right? Because really the universe is always mirroring back what we need. So if something comes up and triggers us in our lives, there's a reason. It's like a gift for us to look at and say, oh, okay, this is triggering me. That shows me I have a wound that I need to heal. And then you take that trigger, that wound, through energy work or breath work or therapy, whatever you want to do, and then you refine it. So you keep going back to your journal, talking about it, refining it. And then the last piece is really remembering and reconnecting. And so that's the piece where we remember who we are. We also refill our energy field with more empowering thoughts and beliefs. So it's really releasing, refining, and we could say refilling, right? Replacing that energy field with your own true energy. And you get to choose the thoughts and beliefs that you carry in your energy field, because ultimately that's your power. You have authority and seniority over your energy field. Nobody else does. And that's our power. We get to choose what's in this energy field.
There's so much in what you just said, because one thing that I've learned on my journey is that we do have a choice what thoughts we choose to engage in, because I was someone, and I think a lot of people struggle with this, we get stuck in a certain pattern of thinking, a habitual way of thinking and being. And I was under this assumption that I have no choice in a matter of what I'm thinking about, and I got stuck in a loop of negative thinking. But what I realized is I do have a choice. I can actually say, well, actually stop it. I don't like that thought, and move my attention to something different. Whether that is a better thought, or if this is too much of a step, just something completely different to take my mind off that negative thought. And I think that is really important. We do have a choice. Like you say, we've got power over our energetic bodies. And now when I get triggered, I actually love them now, because now, like you say, it's a mirror. It's like what is this trying to tell me? If I got triggered by someone's behavior, let's say in a shop, I may think, do I behave like that somewhere in my life? Or was this trying to teach me? And being curious and open about my emotions and my thoughts rather than saying, oh, you got this again wrong. Why you haven't got this yet? And being hard on myself. And I guess that will then lead to the lower, heavier energies that we do not want.
Yes. And you're right, choosing differently. And then I think it's Tony Robbins who says, energy flow, no, energy goes, no, what is, oh my God.
Energy, where your attention goes, energy flows, or something like that.
And that's true because our energy are our thoughts and beliefs. So we get to direct where that energy goes, right? Because whatever we think about grows. And that's definitely true. Our thoughts grow when we on that. And you're right. I love what you said about curiosity, because curiosity is one of the high vibration energies, curiosity and amusement. And the more that we can kind of step back and kind of not take everything so seriously, so that amusement energy, and then that curiosity piece is so great because we get a little bit less stuck. Like, oh, I wonder why I reacted that way, or I wonder why I'm feeling that way. And when we become curious, we're not so hard on ourselves.
Yes, and I think we are less attached as well to the way we are, because then we can grow and change and evolve.
Yes.
So I think that's really important to think about this as well, because and it's a journey. I think that's the other thing that listeners needs to remember. It doesn't, for the most part, I think for most of us, doesn't just happen overnight. Yes. It's a process, and I'm still very much in a process. And I think I will be for the rest of my life.
And I think that's a great piece of information is I think that we're always on a journey, and it's not that we have to be fixed. It's that we're always evolving. So sometimes it feels like, oh, we're going backwards, but I just think of it as like a spiral. So we're always ever moving upwards, but there's always more to grow, and there's always more to live and learn. And I don't think that's ever going to end because we're human. And so it's part of it is embracing the fact that we're on this journey our whole lives. Not that there's one fixed journey, a fixed end, and then, okay, now I'm fixed. I'm done. I'm good. Right? We're always evolving. That's the joy of it, really.
It is. And I always get a little bit mystified by people who say, oh, I can't invest. I don't have the time. And I'm thinking, well, but the time will pass. Whether you want to or not. So would you not rather invest in yourself, in your personal growth and development, and be in a much better place 6 months down the line?
Yes.
Or would you rather go backwards? Because the world will move on. And if you decide to choose to stay stuck where you are, most likely you're going to be worse off 6 months down the line.
Yes. And you were put here for a reason. So the universe wants you to move, right? To be stuck is I think, like, in my mind, that's the universe feels like, oh no, unhappy, because it wants us to express ourselves. It wants us to be free and our energy to be moving so that it can express itself through us. And you're right. When we stay stuck, it doesn't feel good in our bodies. It doesn't feel good in our minds. And there are techniques and things that we can use to get unstuck. And there's not only one right way. I mean, then that's really what I want to say. You don't have to see an energy healer. You don't have to see a certain type of person. There's many choices, and then pick the one that resonates for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's so many different ways out there these days that you can just choose whatever it resonates with you. So this podcast is called You Can Be Unstoppable. So I'm curious if you can give me your take on it and give me 3 top ways of being, advice in terms of how to become unstoppable in your life.
Oh, that's a great question. So I believe we are actually all unstoppable. When we were born whole and worthy and powerful. So it's getting back to that, usually before age 7. A lot of times I see it even before age 5. So who were you when you first came here? That joy and that curiosity. So 3 things to make you unstoppable. One, I would say to have some kind of practice. And that could be anything. It could be meditation, but it's some kind of practice where you come back to yourself. So it's your own special time. It could be meditation, could be listening to a podcast, it could be exercising, but sometime that's just for you to really listen to your higher self and the voice and your intuition so that you can learn, you can hear the next right step for you, because we have to hear ourselves. There's so much other noise going on. If we don't listen to ourselves, we won't actually know the next right step for us. So some kind of maybe morning practice. And then also taking time to really examine and become curious about your thoughts. So what we were talking about before. So every time we feel triggered, just become curious about it. Instead of beating ourselves up, become curious. Why do I feel that way? What do these emotions remind me of? Does it remind me of a time when I was younger, when I felt this collection of emotions? Does it reflect something back to me about myself? So using journaling. So I think journaling, I'm big on that. That really helps us heal and move through triggers and things like that. So journaling would be another. And then the third one is really following joy. And that sounds easy, but it actually can be hard because we have all these beliefs about following your joy. So if we go back to the artist, if you love painting, but your parents say, oh no, you can't be an artist, it's following that joy inside that says, oh, I love painting. Even if you think, wow, I can't have a career in that. So getting out of your head, but just following that joy piece, because it's sort of like that game we played when we were little, where somebody hides something and then we say, oh, you're getting hot when you get close to it, or you're getting cold if you're getting farther away from it. Joy is like that in our lives. The more we move toward joy, it's the universe's way of showing us, yes, go that way. So joy would be the third thing.
Oh, I love this, because I think as adults, we just forget sometimes how to have joy, have to have fun. We get so serious and get down to business, like life has to be hard.
Yes. And it could be more easeful for all of us when we follow, right, what's joyful for us.
Absolutely. And I'm as guilty as anyone because I led myself. I made certain choices to make my life harder than it had to be. But coming back to what I like to do and what brings me joy, it just makes life so much easier.
And it's also a clue from the universe. When we follow that joy, that is the universe urging us, okay, that's the correct path. And so it's a great way when you're stuck or you're unclear, is just thinking, okay, even if it doesn't make sense, what does bring me joy? Even if it doesn't make sense, like, oh, I love baking cupcakes. Okay, do more of that, because whatever that is, that's the universe showing you, go that way. So we're always being guided, and joy is the piece that guides us forward.
And absolutely, you can make money out of anything. Yes. Absolutely anything. I've had some crazy stories, so I really believe that you can make money out of anything. Can you tell our listeners where they can find you if they choose to work with an energy healer? And I think you sound like a really good person to.
Thank you. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Missy Energy Healing, or you can go to my website, which is missyenergyhealing.com. And in September, I'm opening an energy healing membership, which will contain like a bunch of meditations and energy tools for you to use on a day-to-day basis. And it's really like you can walk through the modules yourself, and you can use it as life comes up. So if you're feeling anxiety, then you put on the anxiety meditation, or if you're going out with relatives and you feel like, oh, I need a little bit of energetic protection, right? There's tools in there of how to do that. And then you can work with me one-on-one in my program Expansion. And then I also lead small group healings.
Amazing. Energetic boundaries. I love it. We all need them.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for being my guest. It's been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very fun.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. And I see everyone next week. Thank you for listening. If you found value in this podcast, I would like to ask you to leave a positive review explaining how this episode helped you to improve your life. I ask you to do this because this will help other people to improve their lives as well. Share and spread the love all around you. Raise your vibrations to improve your life. If you would like more transformational content like this, connect with me on Instagram. You can find a link in the description of this podcast, and I'll see you over in the next episode.